like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. The warrior, lawyer. If I were a lawyer, I would be you, J. Wyndal Gordon. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Donnie.
4th of July, that is.
That's right, the big 4.2.
Yes, sir. Casey Anthony, breaking news across America. What would you tell the world about this case?
I would tell the world that, in a nutshell, you have to prove a case beyond reasonable doubt. You can't expect the jurors to do your work for you if you have not presented the evidence. Despite public opinion and public polls, the case is tried in a courtroom, and how jurors see it can be much different than how the public necessarily sees it.
What do you mean?
Well, in this particular case, everyone thought it was a foregone conclusion that Casey Anthony would be convicted of homicide, either first degree, second degree, or manslaughter, and she was acquitted of all three. She was merely convicted on several misdemeanors. And everybody thought the way the state had laid down their case and the way the evidence came out, that she was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But the jurors who sat there and listened to the testimony did not have the benefit of the pundits and the opinions of television. They found her not guilty based upon the credible evidence that was presented in court and not the opinions of the pundits.
Why should this be on the minds of Americans?
Well, it was a great slice of American jurisprudence. It allowed the country to see how the system works, how evidence is generated, how evidence is presented to a jury, some of it within earshot of the jury, some of it outside of the earshot of the jury, to ensure that the jury receives only credible evidence. And this case basically demonstrates how our system works.
When you consider yourself as a trial lawyer, were you impressed about anything on the defense side?
Well, the defense struggled throughout this entire trial, in my opinion, and I thought they struggled at the very beginning when they made some promises to the jury that they could not keep. However,
Such as?
Well, they indicated that there was some sexual abuse involved with Casey Anthony, and that the father and the brother had engaged in some type of sexual relationship with Casey Anthony, and that turned out not to be true. And we just thought that was the most nefarious allegation that one could make before a jury and not have any evidence to prove it whatsoever. However, he did a better job at punching holes little by little in the state's case.
What do you mean?
Well, there was an incident that came up in the trial regarding the duct tape. And it was the state's original theory, and they kind of backed away from their theory as well, that Casey Anthony was, I guess, she succumbed to ingesting chloroform. And as it turned out, they found some duct tape, and the duct tape was allegedly placed upon Casey Anthony's mouth. At least that was the state's allegation. However, the forensic experts had indicated that if duct tape was indeed placed around her mouth, there would be some portions of Casey's skin that is decomposed or whatever on the sticky portion of the duct tape, and none was there. So that was a big turning point in the case. Another turning point in the case was the fact that in the trunk of the car, the state had alleged that Kaylee Anthony's body was placed back there in a decomposed manner, or that it was decomposed and placed in the trunk. And as it turned out, that wasn't necessarily true, because there was also trash in the trunk. And one of the big things was that there was a lot of insect infestation, at least that was the allegation, that there was some insect infestation.
J. Wyndal Gordon, would you give the judge any credit in this case as he laid out instructions for the jurors?
I thought the judge was meticulous, and he was a great judge throughout this entire trial. I mean, I haven't seen lately a judge who had the command of his courtroom, command of the attorneys, and those spectators under such a high-profile case, who dealt with those situations in as graceful a manner as it could be, but at the same time, everyone understood in that courtroom that that was his courtroom, and if you crossed him, you could have serious repercussions.
And this was an African American judge?
Judge Belvin Perry. He has a great reputation down in Florida. I have some good friends who are attorneys down there who speak very highly about him, not only in his jurisprudence, but the way that he conducts himself within the courtroom is very respectful and very highly touted.
Okay, 4th of July, what does this mean for justice in America?
It means that the system works like it's supposed to. The state will always, always, always have the burden of proof. And if they fail to meet their burden, the verdict is not guilty.
Good deal. Thank you for your time. Anything you want to add?
Happy birthday to me.
Good deal. Keep watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.